two of the biggest reboots of the year, Animaniacs and Saved by the Bell, premiering on the same week. We're going to talk about those, as well as a new Trolls spin-off series and HBO Max's The Flight Attendant right now. Hey everybody, Dan here with Dan Reviews It. Yes, this is our TV news and reviews for the week, and just 4 new shows this week because I wanted to dive in a little bit deeper, I think, to a couple of them because they are big-name reboots, Animaniacs and Saved by the Bell, and I have sort of a different history with each one because I used to love Animaniacs, but I never really liked Saved by the Bell. I always thought it was super corny and kind of dumb, and I didn't really watch a lot of it. So I was definitely interested to kind of tackle both of these, and they happen to premiere the same week. So very interesting stuff that we'll get to. But first, a bunch of news to talk about. I guess probably because last week being Thanksgiving, there wasn't a whole lot of news at all. So let's talk about the renewals and cancellations. So renewals, we've got 2 big ones. Fear the Walking Dead returns for season 7. Oh my god. First of all, The Walking Dead is what now, 11 or 12 seasons deep or something? I know that's wrapping up with an extended final season in 2 parts, but the fact that Fear the Walking Dead is currently in season 6 and has just got renewed for season 7, that kind of blows my mind. I've never seen 1 second of these Walking Dead shows. I heard the original was great for like 2 years and then kind of was terrible. And so I never really had any interest in Fear the Walking Dead, but people do love it. So also The Masked Singer, I mean, this was inevitable. It's Fox's most popular show right now. So that has been officially renewed for season 5. And I'm guessing it's either going to air in the summer or maybe next fall, because in the spring they've got The Masked Dancer. I guess they could do both of them at the same time. They could do them concurrently, but the article I read did not reveal when exactly it would be premiering. So my guess would be no sooner than the summer, but I don't know. It's hard to tell because obviously they've put a lot of COVID protocols in place for season 4, so they could just kind of keep doing what they're doing and just move on. And it would give Fox 1 more hour, to fill their time slots. So we'll see when that decides to premiere, but we've got The Masked Dancer starting in like 3 weeks. And then this was a surprise. So on the cancellation side of things, Superstore, it's done. We're going to have 1 final group of episodes airing in the spring, and then that will be it. So this is not an announcement for, okay, we'll do 1 more season and that'll be it. No, this current season will be the last of Superstore. I find that very hard to believe, just because it is one of NBC's more popular shows, but we know America Ferrera left at the beginning of this season, which was supposed to be at the end of the last season, but it got pushed back because they shut down production for Corona, so she did agree to return to a couple of episodes this season, but that'll be it. So it will wrap up with 113 episodes total, which is not bad, certainly enough to get it into 5-night-a-week syndication if they choose to go that route with it. Because I don't think it's in syndication now, but next year I feel like it would be then. So, interesting run for Superstore. It may be one of these shows that kind of lives on and thrives in streaming services. All the episodes are on Hulu. That's actually how I've been catching up with it, because I'm a couple of seasons behind. I got a late start on Superstore, so maybe we'll be sort of like The Office or Friends and find a whole new life for years to come on Hulu. I don't know. And I guess Peacock would have it too. But all right, so moving on to some other news, some casting news. We've got a new Fox New Year's Eve broadcast this year, and they've had Steve Harvey the last few years, but this year, well, they're going to double down on their best friend in the world, Ken Jeong, who is on The Masked Singer, The Masked Dancer. He hosts I Can See Your Voice. He'll probably show up as a guest on their new version of Name That Tune. So they are just in love with this Ken Jeong. He's okay. Look, as the weeks have gone on Masked Singer, and the years really have gone on, I've kind of come around on him. I actually really liked Ken when he started out like in The Hangover and Community, and then that Dr. Ken show on ABC was horrible, like unwatchable. And then when The Masked Singer started, I was just really annoyed with him. But then I kind of was like, okay, I get it. He's purposely being annoying. Their Fox is telling him, like, pick really stupid people, tell people you think it's Oprah or Michelle Obama or Bjork. So I get the gig now. I get the joke. And he's sort of, having a sense of humor at himself. So, all right, fine. So it's going to be him and Joel McHale this year on Fox's New Year's Eve. Juliana Margulies, one of my favorite shows, The Good Wife. Oh, I love Juliana Margulies. Of course, she started on ER, and then she did The Good Wife after that. She will be coming in a recurring role to The Morning Show Season 2. They've already picked up a few high-profile people. Hassan Minhaj is going to be one of the regulars next season on The Morning Show as well. And now we've got Juliana Margulies. She's going to play an anchor. And she's not going to be in all the episodes, but I think they said all but like 2 or something. So, she won't be, I guess, in the opening credits, but she's listed as a recurring character. So looking forward to that. Felicity Huffman is returning to TV, at least to do a pilot. I don't know if it will get picked up as a series, but ABC has commissioned a pilot on this minor league baseball comedy, and Felicity Huffman is going to be the star of it. I guess she's either the manager or the owner of the minor league team. Look, I like Felicity Huffman a lot. I've liked her ever since Sports Night. And then on to Desperate Housewives, of course. She did her time for the Varsity Blues scandal. I think, it's not like she killed anybody. I think she'll be just fine. Now, whether ABC likes the show enough to pick it up is another matter. But, it's good to see her getting work. I will be excited to see her back on the screen. Okay, so a couple of just interesting tidbits. Not so much casting, but... Elliot Page, of course, the person who is on Umbrella Academy, formerly Ellen Page. We're not supposed to dead name people, I know, but just so you know who I'm talking about. So Elliot Page is going to continue playing the Vanya character on the Umbrella Academy for next year. There was a little bit of debate about that. I mean, I think it would be in really bad form for Netflix to, fire him because... now he's going to be playing a woman, but he's not a woman, whatever. But Netflix is also going back and redoing the opening credits for all the other seasons of Umbrella Academy to say Elliot Page. And they said something, it wasn't necessarily Umbrella Academy. The article I read said something like, Netflix is going back over all of their credits. I don't know if there are any Elliot Page movies up on Netflix or not. Juno is not. I didn't look at all of them, but I mean, I don't think Whip It is. They certainly don't have X-Men movies on there, so my best guess is it's just Umbrella Academy, unless there's like something big I'm forgetting that Netflix has. But anyway, so they're gonna redo the credits for that, and that's not unheard of. I know as a Roseanne fan, when Roseanne and Tom Arnold got divorced, she paid to have all of the opening credits redone for the syndicated versions of the show to just say Roseanne instead of Roseanne Arnold from seasons like 2 through 5 or whatever it was. So it's not unheard of, but yeah. So he will be continuing on with that character for season 3, I guess it will be, of Umbrella Academy. I guess this is sort of casting news as well. Back to that, Helen Hunt is going to be one of the new stars of the Blind Spotting series on Starz. This was a movie from, I want to say 2018. I loved it. It was an A+ for me, one of the best of the year easily, and they're going to bring that to Starz, which I announced a while ago. And Daveed Diggs, who starred in the show, starred in the movie, is going to be like a executive producer on the show. He's not going to be in it, but so Helen Hunt will be one of the stars of it now, and they've already pre-announced Jasmine Cephas Jones is going to be on it as well, who's been in a few things here or there, and the daughter of Ron Cephas Jones, the Emmy winner from This Is Us. Also, new series news, Ben Falcone and Melissa McCarthy, husband and wife team. They've teamed up on many things, and actually I think most of Melissa McCarthy's not so great projects. They've teamed up on Tammy and other things like that, but they have a new workplace comedy on Netflix, 16 episodes for the first season, which is very rare. Netflix usually will do 8 to 10 these days. They used to do 13, but I think this is going to be in 2 8-episode increments, kind of like they did with The Ranch and some of their other comedy shows. But it's called God's Favorite Idiot. I don't know much about it, but it will be coming to Netflix at some point in 2021. And I think she's going to star in it, which, is certainly not unheard of for her. She got her start on Gilmore Girls, really, and then did, obviously, Mike and Molly for many years. And she's done a lot of TV work. And an SNL mainstay for several seasons, so I'm not super surprised by that. And to be honest, who knows what's going on with the film industry right now, so may as well do a TV show instead. Last hit movie she had, I can't even think of. Life of the Party did not do very well. So it's been a while, I feel like, since she's had, she did that drama, The Kitchen, that didn't do very well. She was Oscar nominated for an amazing movie a few years ago called Can You Ever Forgive Me, but again, not a lot of people saw it. It wasn't a hit. So I don't know. I am still a fan of hers. I'm excited to see her in any sort of role there. But she'll be on God's Favorite Idiot, and her husband Ben Falcone is producing that, and I guess they're writing it together, something like that. I don't know if he's in it, but she's at least in it. Other than that, a couple of football things to talk about, which is, I don't usually talk about football, but Queen Latifah's Equalizer show, the reboot of that. Of course, they had the movies with Denzel, but now we've got Queen Latifah doing the TV show version. That's going to premiere February 7th after the Super Bowl. CBS has a Super Bowl this year. The Super Bowl rotates from channel to channel, so it's a good way for networks to prop up fading shows that they want to shine a light on, or, premiere a new show they have high hopes in. I remember very famously when I was a kid, The Wonder Years premiered after the Super Bowl, and, obviously it was a huge success and went on to do many seasons, but then there's several that don't quite make the cut. The last time CBS had the Super Bowl a few years ago, they did premiere a new show there called The World's Best. It was a talent competition. And I don't remember much about it. It was kind of on in the background when me and my friends were playing games. Because we were sort of like, we had the Super Bowl on, like, muted in the background. And James Corden, I think, was the host of it, or was he a judge on it? But it was basically like America's Got Talent. Like, it was no different. And so it was canceled after one season. So hopefully, Queen Latifah's The Equalizer fares a little bit better than that. I know CBS premiered season 2, I think it was, of Survivor after one of the Super Bowls, so that was a big hit for them. But then speaking of football, so ESPN, this is so weird to me. There's several NFL wildcard games that are played sort of in the playoffs, or maybe leading up to the playoffs. I know so little about football. But they're going to have one of their wildcard playoff games is going to be broadcast on Freeform, which is, of course, the home of Grownish and the Fosters and the Bold Type. It is a network for, I love it, but I'm not the demo. It's mainly for, like, 18 to 34 women, I would say, and for some reason, ESPN is, they own it. ABC owns all of those channels, so it makes sense, I guess, but they own ESPN, so they're going to simulcast one of those games on Freeform with completely different commentary geared more towards that demographic, the casual football fan, they're calling it. But then, even weirder, CBS is doing the same with one of their wildcard games, simulcasting on Nickelodeon, one of the networks CBS and Viacom owns, and with commentary geared towards children. It's very, very odd. I don't quite understand what's happening, but there you go. If you are a fan of football, then you can get your... I would be curious, as a football fan, to watch a game, or at least a quarter, on Freeform or Nickelodeon, just to see how completely different the commentary is, because I feel like it has to be. And the article I read said that, yes, it will be. Like, Nickelodeon's will be geared more towards kids. So, very interesting. And then, one final note, there's another streaming platform coming. This one is for the reality fan, I would say. Discovery Plus. This is going to premiere in January. And they are going to have more than 50 original titles for their launch month, and a lot of those are from familiar people that we see on a lot of the Discovery platform channels, which include, these will all have shows on Discovery Plus, these networks. HGTV, Food Network, TLC, OWN, Animal Planet, Lifetime, History, and A&E. So, all of those networks will have a ton of shows on there. They're launching with 55,000 episodes of about 2,500 different shows from all those networks, plus a bunch of their originals. This is not something for me. I don't really generally watch any of those channels. I guess maybe A&E every so often if they have something interesting. OWN maybe has a couple of shows here or there I could get into. I don't have that channel, though, and I haven't, I think, since I moved here 15 years ago. I used to have it when I lived in State College. It was one of the... But that was when it was more... it was very, very, like, Oprah-centric, like, when it just started. Wait, maybe... Is that OWN I'm even thinking of? Maybe I'm not. No, I don't remember. I watched it so little. But anyway, this is not a streamer for me. And I don't do a lot of, like, reality reviews on this show, so I don't think I'll be seeking out any of this stuff. But if you are a fan of any of those networks, they will have shows from all of your favorite people. Chip and Joanna Gaines are going to have their own Magnolia Productions company make a bunch of new series, and then there's going to be spin-offs of a lot of the, like, 19 Kids and Counting and, like, those kind of reality shows. So that will start in January. One more streamer to add to your list. All right, so let's talk about these 4 new shows this week. I've got Animaniacs, Saved by the Bell, the reboots on both of those. The Flight Attendant, a new miniseries on HBO Max based on a book, and that's starring Kaylee Cuoco, her first big thing after Big Bang Theory, other than, I guess, voicing Harley Quinn for the cartoon. And then, speaking of cartoons, based on, some sort of movie, TrollsTopia is the new show. And so we're going to talk about that spin-off as well. So, just for this week, but like I said, I think I want to tackle some of these a little bit, longer than I usually do. So, Animaniacs, this is airing on Hulu. This is the 2020 version, and all the episodes are up right now. It's 13 episodes total, which is nice. I like that, Hulu and sometimes Amazon too seem to be giving us more episodes than most of the Netflix shows. Anymore, Netflix, if they get more than 8, or especially if they get more than 10, that's like, wow, like you're really going all out, Netflix. But usually it's just 8 or 10, but here we've got 13 episodes to pick from, and they're all up right now. And this is basically, the same type of format as the original 90s series. Steven Spielberg is on hand to produce and even shows up as a guest in the first episode. The first scene is like a Jurassic Park sort of, spin on, like, bringing things back from the 90s. And, the Animaniacs come in as sort of the the dinosaurs of the episode or whatever, and then Steven Spielberg starts talking about, oh well, welcome back, whatever, and so that whole first episode is really about being rebooted. So the first segment is Yakko, Wacko, and Dot sort of get it reacclimated to being away for 22 years, and then the final portion of the episode is them singing a song all about reboots. And then in the middle, you've got Pinky and the Brain, and they've added, some technology stuff to their segments. A lot has changed, obviously, in the 22 years since they've been on the air. Internet, cell phones, streaming services, a lot of that kind of stuff. And so, they take full advantage of that. What's great here is all of the original voices are back. Rob Paulsen is back as Yakko and Pinky and Dr. Scratch and Sif, which unfortunately I did not get to see in the couple episodes I watched, but I'm sure he's here somewhere because he's listed in the cast. Jess Harnell is back as Wacko, and Tress MacNeille, one of my favorites from The Simpsons, is back as Dot. And then you've got Maurice LaMarche as the Brain, and Frank Welker from Scooby-Doo plays Ralph the Guard, and Chicken Boo. It says on Wikipedia, Chicken Boo is a part of this somewhere. I didn't see him in the 2 episodes I watched, but Chicken Boo, God, I love him. So hopefully he'll be along at some point. This is a very interesting one to review because I was very excited that it was coming back. Like I said, I was a big fan of this show in the 90s. I have all the DVDs. I have the Elmira Pinky and the Brain show on DVD as well. I mean, I was all in on really most of these Steven Spielberg animated projects because I loved Tiny Toons as well. Freakazoid I didn't really get into so much, but the two main shows certainly, and I loved a lot of the characters from Animaniacs. You know, the Good Feathers and Buttons and Mindy and Rita the dog and Slappy the squirrel and of course Chicken Boo, Katie Kaboom. So we had a lot of that stuff in the original version. This version doesn't have any of that. It's very odd. Now, in the theme song, it's basically the same song for the first half, and then they sort of cut it out after they do the Pinky and the Brain one and rule the universe. And then they used to say, "Good feathers flock together, Slappy whacks them with her purse." But those people aren't in the cast this time, so they have another line about, we hope you'll like our new characters kind of thing. And then it sort of goes back and forth between new lines and old lines. But the theme song itself is, essentially the same. But the problem is I didn't notice any new characters. They talk about new characters in the theme song, but there are none from the 2 episodes I saw. And so I looked on the Wikipedia page to see, okay, what are the segments in the other episodes? And pretty much every episode is Animaniacs, Pinky and the Brain segment, and then they close with a shorter Animaniacs segment with Yakko, Wacko, and Dot with a song, typically. There is one episode where Pinky and the Brain do not appear, but it appears to be all Yakko, Wacko, and Dot. I didn't see anything listed about Chicken Boo or Dr. Scratch and Sniff, but they are listed, in the voice work, so they must appear somewhere, maybe, if just a small part. But, boy, I think that's a missed opportunity. Look, I think Pinky and the Brain are fine. I think they're okay. But in small doses. I didn't really watch much of the Pinky and the Brain show. I know I said I have it on DVD, and I do. I don't know that I've ever actually watched it, but, I watched it when it was on in the 90s, when it was on the WB in prime time, and, it was enjoyable. But Pinky and the Brain is the same thing every episode. They try to take over the world, and how they do it, obviously, is a little bit different, but also kind of not. Most of it has to do with either, hypnotism, or, in the first episode, Brain gets a popular meme going, and so he becomes a viral sensation, and so he's going to take over the world by that, so which is great. An update is good. I like that they're using new technologies and stuff, but at least if you're not going to give us the old characters, give us something other than just the Warner Brothers and Sister and Pinky and the Brain. I get it. Goodfellas is very outdated now. I don't even think for the violence it's bad for kids, because obviously, kids are watching the reruns of some of these older shows, Looney Tunes and stuff. But to me, I get it. 30 years have gone by, it's old news. But look, Warner Brothers owns a lot of properties. There's plenty of things they can, riff off of if they really wanted to. And I'm not sure why they didn't take the opportunity to do that with different characters. Or why they chose to take away Slappy Squirrel or, Mindy and Buttons, any of that. Bernadette Peters is still alive. Have Rita the dog come back. I don't understand that. And then, on top of that, this is a bit political, overtly political, which, look, it's in line with how I feel politically. It's sort of making fun of Trump in the first episode, or maybe it was the second episode. But number one, that's going to date it pretty much immediately, which I don't love, because I feel like you can watch those old Animaniacs episodes and, there might be a couple of, random references for things going on at the time that maybe, kids wouldn't understand, movie references and stuff. And they do a little bit of that with, the Reboot song. They reference, Old Boy, and they reference, Will and Grace and Murphy Brown. Look, kids don't know what that is. But I don't know. I just, political stuff to me is not for Animaniacs. I don't understand why that was a part of this show at all. So that was a little bit upsetting to me as well. And then one notable absentee is Hello Nurse, who is, basically a character for her sex appeal. And they do a song in one of the old episodes about how she's got like 6 PhDs. And they really build her up as a very smart person, and that's all fine and good. But, the main component to her character was that she was hot, and the Warner Brothers wanted to get with her and all of that. And Hello Nurse, the whole thing, the whole bit. And she's absent from this because of, look, we can't have women as sex objects now, and da-da-da-da-da. And that's fine. I can respect that. But, where's Dr. Scratch and stuff? Yes, he's in the opening, he's in the credits listed on Wikipedia, but, like, why not have him in he was in the very first episode ever of Animaniacs. Why is he not in at least the first 2 of this one? I love Dr. Scratch and Sniff. What a fun bunch of shorts those were, So, I don't know. This was really a mixed bag. Now, I laughed a lot. I certainly can't deny that. They've done all of their trademark, tongue-in-cheek things and satire and wink to the camera and talk directly to the camera and all of that kind of stuff. They've kept Dot largely the same. The article I read involving, getting rid of Hello Nurse, they talked about, Dot's going to be more, used for her cunning and her brains and not just because she's so cute. Personally, I didn't notice there was that much of a change with the Dot character. Dot has always, to me, been the brains of the operation anyway. I guess maybe now they're just playing it up a little bit more, but she seems the same. Everybody seems the same, and that part is great. They're firing on all cylinders with the comedy. It was very funny, but boy, they missed a lot of opportunities here, and I don't get why Pinky and the Brain has to be in every episode, and I also don't get the political slant on it as well. So sad to say, it's a positive grade, it is, but I was expecting like an A from this. I was so excited for new Animaniacs. I'm going to leave it with a B. I think, there's definitely some good in it. I will watch them. I will laugh my butt off. But boy, really some missed opportunities. So another reboot on the other side of things, something I did not care for in the 90s, Saved by the Bell. This is new on Peacock. And I still don't have a paid Peacock subscription, so I can only watch the first episode of this, the pilot. However, I think that was enough to make a pretty informed decision. So this is really one of the big deals that was, the Peacock was touting right from the start. They're going to have the Saved by the Bell reunion show, or the reboot show. Mario Lopez is in it. Elizabeth Berkley is in it. Most of the original cast is in it, except for Dustin Diamond and for Principal Belding. Dennis Haskins, who both passed on it. Lark Voorhees is listed as a guest star, so I don't know how many episodes she's in. And also, Zach, Marpaul Gosselaar, of course, he is on Grownish now, so he's only going to be here sporadically. But him and Tiffany Thiessen are in this as recurring people. They're husband and wife, and he's actually Zach is the governor now of California, so and his kid factors prominently into the show in the main cast. Mac Morris instead of Zach. Mitchell Hoog plays him. But anyway, the basis of the first episode, anyway, the pilot, and sort of the plot of the whole show is they're still at Bayside. It's still Bayside High. However, it's rife with overprivileged, mostly white, high class families, and so a lot of less privileged kids, let's say, some of them non-white, because of budgets and everything. A lot of the inner city schools are being shut down, so a bunch of those kids have now scattered to different schools, and Bayside is one of them. And Zach Morris, Governor Zach, is sort of spearheading this campaign to bring these, two groups of people together. So it's a bit of a culture clash sort of theme on the show, sending lower income students to, some of the highest performing schools in the state. So I would say, the main character really isn't even Mac Morris. It's this girl Daisy, who is played by Haskiri Velasquez, a newcomer pretty much, and she is one of the underprivileged students who transfers to Bayside, and she really wants to be a go-getter. She applies for class president in the first episode, and Mac and his buddy Lexi, try to get their own way, and with their money and with their privilege, they obviously have a better advantage. I don't want to give spoilers about what happens by the end of the first episode, but you can probably guess that one group might win out over the other. And Lexi's played by Josie Tota, and she's got her own reality show, so she's always talking about that, and check me out on all the socials and da 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 da. And one more person you might recognize is John Michael Higgins. He plays Principal Todman, who, this is kind of funny, he apparently was a Bayside student with Zach and Slater and everybody else, but nobody remembers him, apparently, except for Lisa Turtle, which she was not in this episode, but from what I read, in a future episode it gets talked about. But that's it. So Elizabeth Berkley is back, of course, as Jessie Spano. She is married to this writer, and she is herself a writer. She is a best-selling author of this, parenting book, and she appears in the first episode giving a TED Talk, basically, to the school. And then Mario Lopez, A.C. Slater, is the football coach and the gym teacher at Bayside. So pretty much most of the people are back here. This is not a multi-camera laugh track sitcom like the original. This is single-camera comedy, which I think is to its benefit. And so here's the wild part about watching these two shows, Animaniacs and Saved by the Bell. I am completely flipped about how I felt about each one from the 90s versus today. The Saved by the Bell reboot, honestly, it's one of the best comedies that we've gotten this year. I would put it right up there with Ted Lasso on Apple TV Plus. This is a great show. I laughed very hard. I think I laughed harder at this maybe than the first episode of Animaniacs. I'm not sure. But it was certainly pretty even. And what's great about this is, and this is, I think every reboot kind of needs to take this tone, because a lot of them have struggled with, especially in the pilot episode, with how do we make it endearing to our original fans, but bring in a new generation of fans, and at the same time not be too on the nose about, wink, wink, nudge, nudge, remember when we had another show, and bring their own spin to it. And sometimes, look, it can work pretty well. Roseanne, of course, is one of my great, favorite reboots that's been on. I think it's better under the Connors iteration when Roseanne left, but even season 10 of Roseanne was fine. Will and Grace, it took about 5-6 episodes to really find their footing back, because it was almost too much of look what's changed. Look, and Animaniacs sort of gets away with it because they've always been self-referential. So talking about how they've been gone for 22 years and everything that's changed, that's right in line with their brand. But Saved by the Bell was never like that, So yes, there are a few nods and winks. They talk about "I'm so excited, I'm so scared," being one of Jesse's book titles. I think it was something like "I'm so excited, I'm so scared to be a parent." And so that's obviously a reference to the drug episode of Saved by the Bell. And there's a couple of little winks and nods like that, but for the most part, this really is a show less about nostalgia and more about these kids and the current climate. And yes, there are definitely some politics at play here because of, the underprivileged kids going to the rich school, and there's definitely some culture clash stuff there that's very timely for today that I don't think they probably would have tackled too much in the original, except if it was like a very special episode type of thing. But this is sort of the whole plot and basis for this new series. My buddy Melissa, who has appeared on my channel a few times, we did some Dead to Me reviews and a few other things along the way. She actually binged all of these episodes. Was it 10 episodes maybe? I think there's 10. Let me look here. Yes, there's 10 episodes. She binged them all, within a few days, because they have Peacock. And so, honestly, I definitely would have watched at least the second one if I had access to it. But I was not a fan of the original show. And look, I can watch the original show for what it is. I think for the time and its kind of show, which is really for young kids. It's for middle schoolers basically. They're kind of foray into sitcoms, I suppose. I think it's way better than like Full House or Family Matters. Like I always kind of at least liked some of the humor in Saved by the Bell. I thought Mr. Belding was funny. I just never got into it. Like by the time it came on, I was almost in high school. I think I was in 8th grade when it came on. And then I did Saturday Bowling League for a while, so I was gone every Saturday morning anyway when it came on. And then by the time reruns were hitting, I was in college and stuff. So I never really cared much for it, but I always liked it more than some of the other ones. But this is a good show. Timely, funny, self-referential, but not too much so. The only complaint on it is, they did kind of take the whole Zach thing of speaking directly to the camera on with the new girl Daisy. She does that. It's okay. She's funny. She's a great actress. The Velasquez girl. She is a really, she's adept at comedy. She's pulling, lines out at the right time, and her timing is good. But I'm not sure I love all the asides they gave her, but really, this is a great show. I think fans of the original will like it, and I honestly think, like myself, if you didn't care for the original that much, I think you still might really like it. So I leave Saved by the Bell 2020 with an A-. I will say I hate the new theme song. New theme song is horrible. The Saved by the Bell theme song is iconic. Most of the reboots we've gotten have stuck with the general theme song. Will and Grace is almost exactly the same. Connor's is mostly the same. It's, harmonica, and, the notes are mostly the same. But, man, this is like they try to hip it up and make it a little hip-hop, and it's terrible. So that definitely is another negative on this. But great show overall, A- from me. All right, let's talk about The Flight Attendant. So this is definitely more of a heavy show, although it's still got some humor in it. Kaylee Cuoco stars in this. It's her first big thing, really, after Big Bang Theory went down, at least for a live-action role. And this is based on a book that I guess she loved. I mean, she basically bought the rights to the book, and it's her sort of company that is putting this out. And then, Yes Norman is her company, but then Greg Berlanti jumped on as well. And of course, he is just, the CW's golden boy with all of the Arrowverse stuff. So Warner Brothers, of course, and as well HBO sort of have him in their pocket. But basically, this is about this gal, Cassie Bowden. She's a flight attendant along with some of her buddies, including one played by Rosie Perez. But she is a mess. She is she's an alcoholic, but she is like a blackout drunk. And she drinks during flights, and she hooks up with random guys all the time, including, different customers on the flights. And in the first episode, she wakes up in a hotel room in Bangkok, hungover. She had gone to bed with one of the people on the flight that day, and boy, he's dead. And he's not just dead, he is like sliced up, bloody. He's a mess. So she doesn't know what to do. So she basically just leaves him there, afraid, to talk to police about it, and goes about her day, gets on the flight, and then in New York, she is met by some FBI agents who have a lot of questions about her recent layover in Bangkok. And really, they start by questioning all of the flight attendants, but, they zero in on her when she becomes real flighty, no pun intended, but she, tries to escape in the airport when they're trying to question her, and that sort of thing. So, that's the general premise, but even though this is an hour-long show, and I usually just watch the first one, since I was only doing 4 shows this week, I went ahead and watched the second one as well, because I was a bit intrigued by the plot, for sure. And in the second one, we delve really more into that. Her friend is a lawyer, so she's going to represent her when she talks to the police, and we don't do spoilers here, so that's really all I'll say about the show. But, it's got a pretty good supporting cast. A lot of the people I don't know. Micah Huseman, I've seen here and there before. He plays the dead dude, but she keeps seeing him basically in not flashbacks, but like visions, you could say. But yeah, he's been in Nashville and Orphan Black and Game of Thrones, so he's been in many things. And I mentioned Rosie Perez already. You've also got T.R. Knight, who I have not seen in a long time. I mean, he's popped up maybe once or twice since he left Grey's Anatomy, but not much. But he's in this as Cassie's brother. And yeah, so we see a lot about her alcoholic life and her recklessness and all of that. And even the night before she's supposed to go talk to the FBI, she gets wasted and blackout drunk again, and she reeks the next morning of alcohol. So, but what's interesting about this show is it really does craft an interesting mystery tale, because we don't know what happened either. She's piecing it together. I assume by the end of the episodes, I think is there going to be 10 of this one total? This is on HBO Max, by the way. There's going to be 8 total, and they released the first 2 the same day. I'm sorry, the first 3 on the same day, and then 2 per week, and then the finale will be December 17th. So there's only, I think, 4 up right now, or 5 up. But there's going to be 8 total, and I assume by the end we'll figure everything out as Cassie does. But right now, we're all in the weeds with it too. We don't know what happened any more than she does. So because we're all going through this story through her eyes. So we only know really right now what she knows and what she's remembering and piecing together. And maybe there was somebody else in the room there, and maybe something happened when she left the room for a little bit, or whatever. So, or maybe she did it. You have to assume that she probably didn't do it, because that's usually what happens. The main person doesn't do it, it's something else. But I don't know. I didn't read the book, and I'm only on episode 2, so, it's not really a spoiler, because I have no idea. But they craft this really interesting mystery, and the show is certainly dramatic from that aspect, but it also is kind of funny. It's definitely a dark humor, dark comedy, for sure. But it does kind of walk that line where it's like sort of uncomfortably funny, and then sometimes it's actually funny, and then sometimes her actions are so bizarre that even though you kind of feel bad for her, you do sort of laugh, because you're like, who in real life acts like this, kind of thing. So it stirred up many different emotions in me. I think Kaylee Cuoco is very good here. I don't think she's excellent. I don't think it's like Kerry Washington and Little Fires Everywhere here, but I think she's very good. I watched Big Bang Theory for a while. Got kind of old once all the episodes were basically the same. So I watched it for like 4 years maybe out of the 12 or 13 it was on. But I've seen her pop up in other things, and she's always seemed like kind of bland. She was the girlfriend in The Wedding Ringer, and she pops up here and there in movies, but she's usually playing sort of the side character or the wife or whatever. I liked her when she was a kid on the John Ritter Show, but she kind of is a bit bland to me. But here we actually get to see her flexing her dramatic chops. And I think it works most of the time. I think she's pretty good. Another thing about this show I really like is the soundtrack. She does have some corny ringtones on her phone. She's got Wake Me Up Before You Go Go. She's got Stacy Q, Two of Hearts, some real 80s jams. But the soundtrack behind her, it's very, very good. The theme song is great. I hated the Saved by the Bell one. This is a great theme song. It's like this staccato piano that's just like very fast paced, and I can't think of what it reminds me of. I was trying to think about it while I was watching it, but yeah, it's very like fast paced, rushing staccato piano that I really liked. It really sets the tone for the episodes. So this was another really good one for me. I'm gonna leave The Flight Attendant with a B+. Another good one. I hope the mystery wraps up well. A show like this sort of does live or die by how it concludes, but so far enjoyable. So up next is TrollsTopia, and actually this will be our last show for this week, and this is another one. Hulu and Peacock, they're not really related at all, because Peacock is owned by NBC and Hulu is owned by Disney, which owns ABC. But last week we had a show, The Mighty Ones, a cartoon show that was on both. And here we have another cartoon show that is on both Peacock and Hulu. So it must be, this is from DreamWorks, obviously, because they did, the Trolls movies. I don't think The Mighty Ones was from DreamWorks, but maybe it was, but whatever. Obviously, there's some sort of contract thing going on. So you can watch TrollsTopia on either Peacock or Hulu for whatever reason. And so this is the new show. It follows directly behind the last movie, which was, what was it called? Trolls, the World Tour, which I did not like that much. I gave it either a C or a C+. I can't quite remember, but it was in that range. But this follows that movie with more of the same along the themes of like togetherness and like different people coming together and different kinds of people learning about their differences and da-da-da-da-da. I mean, I watched 2 episodes of this. The first one was a full half-hour episode. The second one was 2 15-minute segments, or, whatever, 11-minute segments, whatever. But the first entire episode, and really definitely the first segment in the second episode, and almost, it sort of bled into the second segment too, have all the same themes: togetherness, let's find our differences, It's literally the same exact themes as the movie. And maybe it goes on from that as the episodes progress, I don't know, but from what I saw, it was like, I already watched this thing. It was called Trolls World Tour, and while that was more, I guess, action-based, because they were sort of on a journey to figure out all the other people, and to get the guitar strings, here, everyone's coming together, and Poppy, wants to just have one unified world, and let's all be happy, and whatever. And that's fine. It's great, good message. It's a message we learned in the movie, but all right. And so Amanda Layton takes over for Anna Kendrick here, and Skylar Astin takes over the voice for Branch from Justin Timberlake. And these people also did the same voices in the Netflix show Trolls: The Beat Goes On. Was that Netflix or was that Hulu? Let's see. Yeah, it was from DreamWorks. Okay, it was from Netflix. That's kind of what I thought. For a while, Netflix was the exclusive home of like all of the TV show versions of DreamWorks shows. They had the Boss Baby show. They had the Peabody and Sherman show. They had, I forget what else they did. For a while, it was Nickelodeon, I think, because Nickelodeon did like, didn't they do the Kung Fu Panda show on Nickelodeon? I think they did. And they did the How to Train Your Dragon show. So for a while, it was Nickelodeon, but now it's Netflix. Turbo they did on Netflix. So I don't know why I guess I do know why, because Peacock owns, or Universal owns the Trolls, and so Universal owns Peacock. I still don't know how Hulu's involved, but whatever. But anyway, so they're off of Netflix now, I guess. But Trolls: The Beat Goes On was on Netflix. Didn't watch it. Really had no interest. I wasn't doing this TV review show then. But same people, Amanda Layton and Skylar Astin did the voices. I think Amanda Layton does a great Anna Kendrick. I think Skylar Astin, if he's attempting a Justin Timberlake, it's terrible. So I like him. So I would like to believe that he's not, and he's just trying to make it his own character. Which I think is a little odd, because I think kids, kind of get attached to the voices. Like if somebody was to ever take over Woody on Toy Story, I would hope that they would try and do a Tom Hanks doing Woody impression, and not just some completely other character. So for Poppy to sound almost the same, and Branch to sound really nothing like Justin Timberlake is odd. Most people from the films are not present here, except for Ron Funches, who plays Cooper. He was in both the movies, and he was in the both of these shows that they've done as well. So, and then instead of having the people from the movie from the different sects of the the different genres of music, like like they had Rachel Bloom, be the rocker chick. Like they just have other random characters from each world, which I think makes sense. They're not going to get, the actors on there. But the thing that stands out to me about the Trolls movies is they're all too frantic. Like it's like a sensory overload. And I really liked actually the first one. I thought the first one was good. I didn't think it needed a sequel, but of course everything gets a sequel now. So I gave the first movie like in the B range, I think. Second movie, like I said, C+. This falls definitely much more into that second movie category. I think it's okay. The themes are exactly the same as what we've seen before. The voice work is all right. I think it's all right by some and less so in others. Like another one, so Biggie is voiced by James Corden in the movies. David Flynn voices him here, and I don't know, it's just sort of annoying. He's like trying too hard. Like, but again, he voiced it in the Netflix series too. The Beat Goes On. So maybe kids are used to it from that. I don't know. To me, I would think a kid would be like, why does he sound like this in the movie but this in the TV show? They don't, they don't know like contracts and whatever. So I think it's odd that Leighton is trying so hard to basically mimic Anna Kendrick, and I think she does a great job. Like if you close your eyes, I think you could maybe be fooled about it. Close your eyes. I mean, it's a cartoon. You don't actually see Anna Kendrick on the screen anyway, but you know what I'm saying? Like, if you really zero in on the voice, I think you might be tricked into thinking, oh, okay, this could be Anna Kendrick. Skylar Astin is just, and I like him. He's on Zoe's Extraordinary Playlist. He just sounds nothing like Justin Timberlake at all. But he can sing. We've seen that in Pitch Perfect and Zoe's Extraordinary Playlist. So, for the songs and stuff, that would make sense. This show had a little bit of humor, but, it was a lot like that second movie. It's okay, but there's so much better things out there. The messages are old and tired, and the music's okay here. Trolls sort of lives and dies by the music, and the movies have a great selection. The show, it's okay. But I did sit through 2 whole episodes of this as well, to give it a fair shake. But this is very average for me. I'm going to leave TrollsTopia with a C+. I think kids will probably like it more than I did, but I just think it's basically a rehash of the movie. So, all right, that will do it for this week. And I was right. I'm glad I only did 4 shows because we're already past the 50-minute mark. Because I knew I wanted to kind of talk a little bit longer, at least about some of these. So next week, I'm not sure what shows are going to be on the docket. We'll have to take a look. But I'll have some new news for you. And as I said last week, I've been a little behind for a few months now on these TV news and review shows. So I'm trying to catch up before the end of the year. Trying to put one of these out every 4, 5, 6 days instead of once a week. And hopefully by the end of the year, then I'll have a nice best of list for you from everything that's been out this year. I'll be caught up, we hope. Thanks for watching. And yeah, we'll see you next time.